Well, I am here to welcome you once again, Willie. I really do look forward to the opportunity of meeting you one day in person when you come back to the Sioux to visit with your family. However, until then, Zoom is perfectly fine because you are, as always, a woman on the move. Okay, so let's count this off then. We've got author, we've got entrepreneur, we've got advocate, we've got educator. So today, I think it's appropriate to start with your next book, right? You have another book coming, Minnow. Yes.
I do. So Minnow was actually just released in May. And so we just launched Minnow, the girl who became part fish in May, which is really exciting. And I
Okay.
did some travel to the West Coast for the book launch, as a lot of the story is inspired by my time living on the West Coast and living in the nations that are impacted by the salmon and the
Okay.
decline of the salmon in those areas. And
Okay.
so, yeah, this story was largely inspired by my students from out
Okay.
west.
Wow. Okay. So that just launched in May. Now, previously, when we had just like met and chatted, you had also released a book, which is my understanding has now been nominated for an award.
Yes. So Together We Drum Our Hearts Beat as One was a finalist book in the Indigenous Voices Award this year, which was
Mhm.
really exciting.
Wow.
Um,
Congratulations. Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah. So now your stories, beautifully illustrated. Is it the same artist that you worked with on Together We Drum Our Hearts Beat as One?
No, so it's actually illustrated by Bailey McCobb, who is based in Nanaimo on Vancouver Island, who
Okay.
is, yeah, who is like an incredible free Métis and Ukrainian artist.
Right,
So that
right.
is like, yeah,
I
quite
mean, like,
different.
and the caliber of the art in both books, so different artists, however, both so beautifully crafted. Like, the illustrations alone could be, send a message, in support of, the messages that you also weave into your stories. So once again, is Minnow presented as, a children's book with like a larger message kind of woven in?
Yeah, so Minnow is very much written for kids. I would say like ages 6 and up. And it does have some big messages about like bycatch and overfishing and oil spills and things like that that are woven
Okay.
within it. So yeah, it is kind of bringing larger topics and the larger topic of like land sovereignty and bringing stewardship back to First Nations and all of those kind of topics as well on top of just the environmental ones.
Okay, fantastic. Now, you also are heavily engaged with the Métis Nation of Ontario. Is that role ongoing?
I mean, I'm a citizen of the Métis Nation of Ontario, so it's kind of always ongoing, right? Like
Yes.
that's my community, and that's kind of who I try to represent within a lot of my stories. And it's kind of really interesting because although I'm Métis from Sault Ste. Marie, I also have lived in so many different Indigenous communities that are like Satliam or Tronda which is like a Han nation. And so there's like all of these different components that make up my identity because you have like your bloodline and your heritage. Your
Certainly.
identity is so many, like so much more than that, right? Like it's all of your lived experiences and the places you've been and the people you've loved, and all of those things make up identity. And so within my stories, you kind of see inspirations from my own culture, but also pieces that are inspired by the youth that I work with and the youth that I write the stories for a lot of the time. So it's kind of it's an interesting blend.
So when you start to craft a book, and again, I love the way you take such a huge message and you envelop it in this very non-threatening language. Um, how do you there are so many issues and challenges that the Indigenous communities and cultures face every day. How do you decide which issue you're going to tackle?
Um, yeah, great question. So I think for me, something will happen that will like make me so angry, where
Okay,
I'm like shaking and I just have this rage. And I think a lot of Indigenous people are rightfully so angry. Like we carry a lot of this anger of things that
for
have
sure.
happened and things that are continuing to happen. And I think for me, writing is actually a way that I process that. And because I write for kids, I can't write angry. And
No,
so I have to take that anger and I have to create something beautiful out of it that's inspiring and shows Indigenous love and Indigenous resilience and beauty and Indigenous science and not Indigenous anger. And so it's a way to like for me to cope through the things that make me angry,
yes,
but also to keep the power of that anger. Like I think that all of our emotions hold a different kind of power. And for me,
yes,
I want to keep some of the power of that anger to for other people to kind of look at it and get
yes.
angry first and then work through those emotions in the same way that I did and hopefully create a better future from that. I think it's just a process of working through emotions for me that turns into these books that I
Okay.
love.
So then, if I recall, Together We Drum, Our Hearts Beat as One, incorporating the importance of culture in dominating the monster that you named hate, correct? If I am I remembering that properly?
Yes, and there's a lot of MMIWG 2+ references. So
Yes.
like references of missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit people within the story. And largely that story was inspired by the epidemic of violence towards Indigenous folks.
Yes.
Um, and so that's where the anger came from, and then turning it into this like beautiful story of connecting with ancestors, connecting with culture, and the path that these women have paved for us, and
Wow.
seeing kind of
So
the beauty within.
powerful, like such incredible, like I said, I mean, again, like to me, you're one of your many gifts, but one of your specific gifts is that capacity to take, such polarizing issues and take, the division and kind of, not eliminate it, but massage it with the non-threatening language, and your ability to, as you say, suspend anger and just kind of put forward a message of hope, of a pathway forward. Really, really powerful. Is there another book on the horizon?
There is. So the next book is called My Little Ogichida.
Okay.
Um, and it's kind of a baby book, sort of like a lullaby. I call it like an Indigenous lullaby. And it sort of stemmed from watching these really strong Indigenous matriarchs, such as Raven Lacerte, who co-founded the Moosehead Campaign, and watching them like up on stage in front of hundreds of people with their babies with them up there.
Mhm.
And I think, the Indigenous community is so community centered and family centered that these are places where we emphasize, bring children, bring them up there,
Yes.
have them exposed to this. And that's not seen in a lot of like colonial institutions. Like you don't often see mothers be able to bring their babies to university courses or to
No.
teach at universities. There's still like this huge stigma around that. And so watching Indigenous love and resistance through motherhood was like a really powerful moment for me. And so I just went home and I wrote this poem. And then I thought, you know what? Maybe it'll be a book. And now it is going to be one.
Oh, amazing. So when can we expect that release?
I'm thinking this fall. We're still working through some of the artwork right now. Polly Pitchett is the artist who's an incredible woodland artist based in
Okay.
Ontario. And such beautiful work. And we just have like a couple tweaks and it's pretty much ready. So I'm thinking it'll be within the fall. We'll have a exact date for sure.
Oh, fantastic. Well, hopefully I can look forward to speaking with you again when it comes out. No doubt by then, Minnow will be highly acclaimed as well. Willie, as always, such an amazing opportunity always to speak with you. I come away feeling, encouraged and uplifted and hopeful So thank you very much once again for making time for me. And it is always a delight.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you to you and the Sault Ste. Marie community who's always supported me, and it's been really great seeing my books kind of within the Algoma area as well. So I hope
Amazing.
to come back and visit
Okay.
and sign some soon.
What's that?
I hope to come back and visit and sign some books soon.
Yes, yes. And when that happens, I insist that you come to me. All right. Well, you enjoy your weekend. And once again, thank you for making time.
Thank you.